Hey, Lindsay, how are you?
Great, Michelle. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Lindsay, would you say Taylor Swift is having a moment?
I would say that would be safe to say yes, Michelle, but a very long moment. I feel like she's been having a moment for the last 10 years or something.
It's like a triple, quadruple moment. Yeah, now she just came out with a new CD. So she's definitely, now she's having a moment again. She had a moment with her tour. Now she's having a moment with the new CD and being engaged in the whole
and she got engaged, and that right there was a mini moment within the moment,
Yes. Oh my gosh. I can't believe how many moments she has.
I know. Yeah.
Lindsay, what is something else that is having a moment? Maybe like a piece of workout equipment or something like that?
Well, I've noticed that weighted vests for women, and I guess for men too, actually, are having a moment. So I'll see in my neighborhood, I'll see people, all of a sudden, they came out of nowhere. People are strapping on weight onto their, as a vest. And, you could, I suppose you can swap in how much weight you have on your vest. Is that right, Michelle? Are you into this trend?
I don't know. Well, so I do have one, but I've only used it a couple times. I wouldn't say it's like my big thing, but but it's okay. You do want one?
Kind of. I think weightlifting is probably having a moment right now for women. I think we're gaining more understanding of how important it is if we're a woman in our 30s and 40s, maybe 50s even, to gain muscle mass. Super important for the body's health. So I think that's where it's coming from, right?
Yep, exactly. Oh, here's another thing. Ozempic.
Sure, that's having a moment. Absolutely. I mean, it's everywhere. Things are always having moments. And that really, what does that mean then, Michelle? Like if something's having a moment?
Right. It's getting the spotlight, right?
Yeah.
It's I mean, there are many ways we can use this expression, and that's what we're talking about today, to have a moment. So we'll talk more about this in just a second, but make sure that you hit the follow button wherever you're listening to the All Ears English podcast, because we teach you about a lot of different things that are currently having a moment, right? Different ways, different expressions, different cultural phenomena. So definitely hit follow to learn about all these moments.
Yeah. I mean, if you observe someone wearing a certain fashion trend, I mean, I think fanny packs are having a moment. Maybe they're coming out of it now. Maybe it was just the last few years, but I know I remember my aunt used to wear fanny packs back in the 80s. Yeah. And I think she wore them her whole life, and we used to make fun of her.
And now
wearing a fanny pack back in the 80s, and then they became really popular. So they're having a moment again. And when we say having a moment, it's not just that people are participating in it. People are also making commentary on it. Let's say on Instagram, right? On Instagram, on social media. So people are doing the thing, talking about the thing, and making content about the thing. Right. So it's
it's everywhere. It's kind of like you can't go 2 seconds without hearing about it.
Exactly. So our listeners need a way to talk about this thing, right? That's happening. So
to have a moment. So we're going to talk about this expression in a few different ways, because there are different ways to use it that are all very common. But this first one that we're talking about, again, it's about getting the spotlight, attention, success. So Taylor Swift, right? There's a lot of people are talking about her. People are listening to her music. People, she's everywhere. You cannot go a day without hearing about Taylor Swift.
Yeah, for sure. Another example would be Wicked. The movie was or still is having a big moment in the last couple of years. Everyone was seeing the movie. Everyone was seeing the play, right? Wicked.
So you could say Wicked is having a moment. It's everywhere.
Or Stitch the movie is having a moment. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Right?
Stitch. Yep. That's it. Because they came out with the live action version. Okay. And now they're going to come out with a Moana one. Let's say that.
About that.
Live action movies are having Disney movies are having a moment. So
interesting.
Yeah. There's always, I was just thinking about that yesterday, how it's so funny that we just have this desire to recreate with real people. It's like, I don't,
Yeah, interesting. And then what are fidget spinners? What
do you don't know?
Is that? No, I don't even know what that is.
Oh, they're things. They're kind of shaped. You put your fingers in the middle and you like twirl them around, and it's just supposed to help with, you know, fidgeting. So they really had a moment a few years ago. It just all these kids were carrying them around, and so you could say fidget spinners had a moment. Lots of, I mean, toys. I mean, Lindsay, if you think of that from when we were kids, Tamagotchis and
or you know what, it makes me
Beanie
think of
Babies.
Beanie Babies. Also during the pandemic, a lot of things had a moment, like adult coloring books, I think had a moment in the pandemic. I think you might have had one, Michelle.
I did. There's like 2 pages colored. Yeah.
That's right. You shared that with us on the show. But people did, because people were kind of losing their minds, right? Having to stay home and COVID and stuff. So, but now I don't think they're as popular. I'm not sure. So these tend to be things that are trendy, maybe have a peak at a certain time, maybe based on conditions going on in the world, right? Like COVID, or just, I don't know, the weather or something, or just based on the mood of the population, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, but there are other ways that you can use something as having a moment. So we're going to get into these as well. So it can also mean that you're really connecting with someone. So it could be maybe a bit romantic sounding, but not necessarily. It just depends on the context. Here's an example. Shh, don't disturb the kids. They're having a moment. I can't believe they're getting along.
Yeah, and that could be right there. So in the case of the non-romantic example, like just siblings, right? They hate each other most of the time. My brother and I hated each other most of the time, but that occasionally we would get along. And so you're like, don't interfere, right?
Right.
Just, let them have their moment, right?
Like, yesterday my kids were... it was wild. My son was going to have a friend come over, and we were waiting for that friend to arrive. And so they wanted to turn on the TV. And I said, no, you're about to have a friend. I'm not turning on the TV. So then I was just on the kitchen floor, just like wrestling, and it was very loud. And I just kind of, I just sat there because there was nothing I could do. And I just kind of sat there with this like glazed look on my face, because even though it was loud, they were getting along. So I could say they're having a moment. It's like, I'll take it. As long as they're not, fighting with each other, they're wrestling, but not fighting. So it's funny. I could say they're having a moment, or sometimes there are these sweet moments where then it'll be like, oh, he's reading to her, and you're like, oh my God, look at this, they're having a moment.
That's nice. So it's kind of when something special is happening between two people, whether it's just siblings or whether it is like a bride and a groom. So here's an example of a romantic example. The bride and groom were having a moment at their table, and we didn't want to ask them, or we didn't want to interfere. And I know when you get married, like they like to build in moments where the couple can go off and just be alone, right? If you have a wedding planner or a day of planner, they'll try to get you those moments, because it is a very intense day, right? Yep. All right, Michelle, we are back. So, okay, this is cool. So there's 2 ways so far that we've talked about having a moment. Is there a third kind of meaning?
Yeah, these are really fun. So it could also just mean you're feeling strong emotions, right? So maybe you're sentimental, could be happy, could be sad, whatever it is. So for example, you could say, oh, I'm having a moment. These pictures really bring me back.
Right. Or on a few episodes ago, we talked about how we both cry at weddings no matter what, even though we don't think we're going to. Right? Having a sentimental moment. Or don't talk now. This is my song. I'm having a moment. Right. So maybe that means like memories are flooding back to you, or you're just really happy to hear this song come on the radio. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that reminds me, there's an episode of Seinfeld where there's like somebody who has I think Elaine is dating this guy, and the song always comes on, and he kind of goes into this trance whenever he hears it. And there are definitely, do you have any songs like that where you hear it and it just really hits you?
I feel like I have a lot of songs like that, because they remind me of time periods, like from the 80s and the 90s, but no specific one. Maybe some Creedence Clearwater brings back specific memories. But what about you, Michelle? Do you have a song that brings you a moment every time it comes on the radio?
Yeah, well, definitely. Absolutely. One that I think of just off the top of my head is, do you know Gavin DeGraw?
Yeah. Oh, I think I know the Chariot song.
Yes,
right?
you
shared that
remembered. Yeah. Yeah. So that definitely it brings me back to, and you know, notice usually the songs you're having a moment about are songs from like when you were maybe a teenager, early 20s, you know, that brings me back to just this happy moment I had driving in my car with the windows down. I had the music turned up. The other one is Have It All by Jason Mraz. Because when I found out I was pregnant with my son, I heard that for the first time and I just bawled. Yesterday, sorry, one more is the song Candy Cane Lane. It's by Sia. It's a Christmas song, and I heard it yesterday and I almost cried because it brought me back to when my son was born, and it was around that time of year that Christmas music was playing, and I was having a moment.
Oh yeah. Yep. This is great because every single one of our listeners listening today has a song and it evokes a moment, and now you guys have the language to explain. Like maybe you want to stop talking to the person you're talking to, right? Yeah. Maybe you just want some quiet, or you just want to be present with the song.
Feel all the feels, right?
Yeah. So that's good. Or you don't want them to change the radio station in the car, let's say, right? Yep. So this is what you could say. So really good. But there is another meaning still.
Yeah, we're gonna
do. Phrase just keeps on
it's
giving.
It's really a good phrase. You know what I was thinking? I thought having a moment is having a moment. This expression. But yeah, the last way we're going to talk about today is to say you're having a moment. It could be that you're flustered or you're acting unusual. So for example, you could say, sorry, I'm having a moment. I can't find my keys anywhere and I'm freaking out.
Mm-hmm. So it's not always necessarily a good thing. You just need to pay attention to the context, the tone of voice, the vocabulary, right? Or you could say to someone, okay, you're having a moment. Don't get mad at me. Right. So where you're just asking the person to back off, and you can see that they're having their own thing. Right.
Yes.
Sometimes we create our own storms of emotion.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, exactly. Lindsay, so just to review, you know, we had 4. So the first one is something's getting attention, the spotlight, the weighted vest, the fidget spinner, the Taylor Swift, Wicked. Then what's the other way? The second way.
The other way. So when people connect, right? Mm-hmm. Connecting, whether it's like siblings or friends or romantically bride and groom, that kind of thing. Then we had the strong emotions meaning. When your song comes on the radio, we have something to say now.
Yep. And then the last one could just be feeling flustered. You're acting unusual. I'm having a moment. I need to think. Right?
Yes.
Do you feel that any of these are like you use most in your life? Which one like feels most natural to you? Which context do you think?
For me, it's probably commenting on trends, adult coloring books or having a moment, that kind of thing. I like to observe society and trends and like, why is something trendy at different times? Like slap bracelets had a moment back in the 90s, and they were cool. But why did that go away? Or what was that about?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I think so too. It's just a great way to comment on society, what's going on, the trends. I mean, I even think about, like, have you heard of K-pop Demon Hunters?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what I mean. I've never watched it, but it's like every kid for Halloween, you would go around and see everyone was dressed like a K-pop demon hunter.
Yeah, that's so funny.
So yeah, I think that usage is definitely having a moment, but, let's do some role plays here. We're not going to use every single context, but we're going to do two short role plays.
All right. So here in the first one, we are trying to set up our friends at a party. And what do we mean by set up? Are we talking?
See if they will date. Because we think maybe they will be interested in each other romantically.
We think we have a match, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, they're talking. I'm having a moment.
Look at them. This is totally going to work. Oh my gosh, it looks like they're having a real moment.
Yes. Okay, so this is funny. This is interesting because I was not participating in that connection, right? We were just on the side. We were observing. So why did I say I'm having a moment?
because you were like excited about it. Maybe you're just like, ooh. I mean, it's always exciting if you set someone up and things are looking good.
Yeah. And just to, we always like to look at body language too. If you're on YouTube, you can see when I said that, I put my hand on my chest, right? Like you're seeing you've maybe created something, you know, and you're excited about it, and there's emotion there too. So there you go.
Yep.
And then you said it looks like they're having a real moment, right?
Yeah. So this would be the second context. They're really connecting. So yeah, that would be that context there. So let's do one more, and then we'll start to head out for today. So here we are, colleagues. Okay.
All right.
Okay. So we have to recognize that our cartoon ads are doing really well.
Yes. All of a sudden they're having a moment. Now, this is definitely the trend meaning, Michelle, right? Yep. The weighted vest, the coloring books, the cartoon ads, right? They are trending.
They are trending. I love it.
Yes.
So yeah, this is just, you can see this one phrase has so many different ways to use it, and they're all fun. I mean, they all are pretty emotional. There's emotion behind them.
Yeah. I agree.
And they can all kind of lead to more connection too.
100%. Yeah, because I think anytime that we have words to describe an emotion we're experiencing, or I don't know, that you see a lot of people getting into something, for example, that leads to connection, right? Anytime we observe an emotional phenomenon going on, that's connection right there. Yep. So we have the words to do it now. Guys, go on over now for your next step. Go listen to 2522, what to say when you lose your train of thought. I loved how authentic and human that episode was, Michelle.
Yes, absolutely. I think that was you and Aubrey. So that is just excellent. And guys, head on over and listen to that one. Anything before we go? I think we've discussed it all, really.
Yeah, I think this is it. That's it right there. I mean, observe life, and if you make these observations, you articulate what's going on in your mind, what you're seeing in the world, that brings you closer to the person next to you, Michelle. Right?
Absolutely. All right, Lindsay, this was a lot of fun. Glad we talked about this today. And guys, let us know how you end up using it.
Excellent. Talk soon. Bye.
All right, bye.